Hello there, I'm Nakia Bashiruddin and you're watching Nightline. The headlines. Man remanded over discovery of girl's decomposed body. And drug addict arrested after taking niece hostage. Welcome. A man has been remanded for 14 days to assist with investigations into the discovery of a girl's body in Kampung Tanjung Medang Hile, Pekan on Saturday. Pahang CID Chief Dato' Othman Nanyan, who confirmed the arrest, said the suspect, who is in his 20s, was believed to be the last individual seen with the victim. Dato' Othman said the body, yet to be identified, was found by a member of the public at 4:25 p.m. The body was found lying face down in a bush about 200 meters from the main road, which was quite hidden from public view. The body was brought to the Tengku Ampuan Afzan Hospital in Kuantan for a post-mortem to identify the cause of death. Dato' Othman added that an inspection of the surrounding site, which was located next to an oil palm plantation, did not yield any weapons. He said the case was currently classified as sudden death while waiting for the post-mortem report. It was learned that the body was found bound and decomposed and was believed to be the 11-year-old girl who was reported missing since January 30th after going to a shop. Ibrahim Ali and Zaleha Abdullah claimed that the girl was their daughter, Siti Mashita.
Kat situ. Lepas tu dia nampak mayat tu. Dia kata, tu dia jerit lah. Dia datang sini, dia jerit. Kau ni kata hilang anak, kenapa lah kau cari anak tak nampak-nampak lagi? Ni aku ada nampak mayat anak awak kat situ. Tu kita orang pun pergi, tapi kita orang tak suntuh lah. Lepas tu tua kampung telefon lah polis tu datang tengok mayat tu lah. Tapi memang confirm anak saya baju tu. Sebab dia ikat tali ada gambar kan. Dia ikat belakang gini lah. Lepas tu nampak kat leher, kaki dia. Lepas tu kepala dia tu dah isi dah habis lah, tinggal tulang sahaja. Yang tu lah. Sebab dia dah masuk 11 hari kan baru kita jumpa dia.
On the day she went missing, Zaleha said her daughter had asked her for 1 ringgit so that she could purchase something at a shop and promised to return home as soon as possible. Zaleha lodged a missing persons report on the same day, and with the help of the villagers, they mounted a search around the village every day since then. The Toyota Vios driver who crashed into a Mazda CX-5 SUV, resulting in it plunging into the sea from the Pulau Pinang Bridge last month, will be charged on Monday. Seberang Perai Tengah District Police Chief ACP Nick Rose Azhan Nick Abdul Hamid said the 21-year-old man will be charged at the Bukit Mertajam Magistrates Court. ACP Nick Rose, in a statement on Sunday, said the Vios driver will be charged under Section 41, Subsection 1 of the Road Transport Act 1987 for causing death due to reckless driving. If convicted, the driver will face a maximum of 10 years jail and up to a 20,000 ringgit fine. It was reported that an accident involving 2 vehicles on the Pulau Pinang Bridge caused the Mazda CX-5 to crash through the guardrail and plunge into the sea. The accident took place at about 2:50 a.m. on January 19th at kilometer 4 of the bridge in the direction of the mainland. The SUV plunged into the sea after being rammed into by the Toyota Vios. The Mazda CX-5 was driven by 20-year-old student Moy Yun Peng. The victim's body was retrieved a few days later, while the Toyota Vios driver, apparently a friend of the victim, was summoned to the police station to have his statement recorded. A 7-year-old girl lived through a nightmare when she was taken hostage by her own uncle for over 5 hours at a house in Taman Serai Wangi, Padang Serai near Kulim. Kedah Criminal Investigation Department Chief SAC Mio Farid Al-Thrash Wahid said in the incident that took place at about 6 p.m. Saturday, where the 34-year-old suspect, armed with a knife, is believed to have run amok and locked himself in a bathroom with his niece after his brother-in-law refused to give him money to buy drugs. He said the suspect, who was under the influence of drugs and had past family issues, came to the house and demanded money, believed to be for purchasing drugs. His brother-in-law refused to oblige, causing the suspect to go berserk. The suspect then held a knife to the neck of his niece and took her into the bathroom. He said the police arrived at the scene and tried to persuade the suspect to surrender and release the child. However, the suspect resisted, forcing the police to break open the door and save the victim. SAC Mior added that during the incident, there was a scuffle with the suspect, causing one of the police officers to be injured with the knife. The victim, who was in a weakened condition, was rescued before being taken to the Kulim hospital. He also confirmed that the suspect, who has several drug-related criminal records, is currently under remand for 14 days and being investigated under Section 3 of the Kidnapping Act in 1961 and Section 307 of the Penal Code. Nearly 36 hours of search and rescue efforts to find missing angler Abdul Bari Ashraf Muhammad ended at 7:24 Sunday morning after his body was found floating some 2 kilometers away from where he was last seen in the Terengganu River. The 31-year-old man was reported missing after being involved in the rescue of 5 family members who plunged into the river Friday night in their 4-wheel drive. Rescuers brought the remains of Bari to the Fire Department Control Center for identification process after local villagers spotted the victim's body near a bridge at the Kuala Tanjung estuary. Upon positive identification by family members, the victim's body was then handed over to the police before it was sent to the Sultanah Nur Zahira Hospital in Kuala Terengganu. Bari's body was claimed by family members after a post-mortem process of nearly 3 hours. His remains were then laid to rest at a local cemetery in Kampung Merbau Patah. In the 9:30 p.m. incident Friday night, the deceased, who was fishing with friends at Pulau Warisan, dove into the river to rescue the family who were trapped in a Mitsubishi Storm which had accidentally gone into reverse and plunged into the river. His rescue effort, with the help of a few other individuals, had helped save all the victims from drowning. However, Bari was believed to have suffered cramps while retrieving one of the victims before disappearing shortly after. An extensive search and rescue operation was launched after he failed to resurface. I'm greatly indebted to the deceased. Those were the words uttered by Nordiana Alwani Jafar to the family of Abdul Bari Ashraf Muhammad, the Good Samaritan who drowned while attempting to save Nordiana and her family. 33-year-old Nordiana described the late Bari as a hero for saving herself and 3 other family members from drowning after they were trapped in their vehicle. Recounting the terror, she said she will never forget Bari's face when he swam against the current to rescue her 3-year-old child.
Saya berterima kasih sangat-sangat. Dia macam bagi nyawa baru kat saya dengan semua keluarga saya. Dia bagi nyawa dia kat kita orang. Itu dia yang boleh bagi tahu. Kalau dia ada, memang saya terima kasih banyak-banyak. Sebab dia orang pertama yang terjun untuk selamatkan kita orang.
Makcik start dia berlaku malam tu, makcik terima terus dan serah. Nah, reda serta kita terima dia tu, walaupun dia hidup atau mati, makcik nak terima, nak tengok ada bukti tu depan mata sendiri.
The 5 rescued victims, including Nordiana, are still receiving treatment at the hospital. The other 3 family members are Suryati Rusli, aged 37, Asma Rusli, 23, and Shafawani Jafar, aged 11. The Terengganu State Government, meanwhile, will give a special award to Bari. ESCO member Wan Sukairi Wan Abdullah said the award would be a tribute to his bravery and noble deed. He said Bari had risked his life to rescue not one, but several victims in the incident. Wan Sukairi said the state government also commended 5 other youths who were involved in the rescue operation. The state government also thanked the rescue team, which included firefighters, the police, volunteers, and all those involved in the search for the victim. A total of 307 summonses were issued to errant motorists during a special operation headed by the Kuala Lumpur Road and Transport Department at the Jalan Duta Plaza toll on Sunday night. According to its director, Dato' Ismail Muhammad Zawawi, a 25-year-old woman was also arrested in the operation after she was tested positive for methamphetamine.
Kita dah keluarkan sebanyak 307 notis dan jumlah kenderaan yang kita sita pada malam ini 11 buah dan juga kenderaan yang kita periksa 850 buah lah. AADK ada satu positif ini perempuan. Pemeriksaan yang dibuat adalah 28 orang lah keseluruhannya. Okey, immigration ada 5 tangkapan.
Dato' Ismail was speaking to the media after heading the operation, which was joined by the Immigration Department, National Anti-Drug Agency, Road Safety Department and the Royal Malaysia Police. He said among the offences were riding without licence and expired road tax. He also revealed that the Kuala Lumpur RTD had taken actions against 910 out of 12,886 vehicles checked during the Chinese New Year operation. Out of the 910, 67 vehicles had been confiscated for various offences.
Catch the auto segment every Friday on Nightline! Woo! Wow!
Still to come on Nightline, ex-Johor MP charged over 230,000 ringgit bribe. Do stay with us. Welcome back. A Malaysian vessel has collided with a ship in waters disputed by Singapore and Malaysia, sparking a fresh flare-up of maritime tensions on Sunday between the two countries. Both Malaysia and Singapore are insisting that the accident took place in their own waters, while the Marine Department has impounded the Greek-flagged bulk carrier, the Piraeus, and detained its crew after the collision with the Malaysian boat Polaris. Marine Department Director General Datuk Baharin Abdul Hamid told Bernama that the incident occurred within the Malaysian territorial waters and not Singapore. He clarified that the Polaris was at the area as it had been tasked to monitor the safety of vessels navigating the waters around Johor Bahru port. Meanwhile, the Foreign Ministry, in a statement, also confirmed that the Greek vessel and its crew had been detained by the Marine Department for purposes of a preliminary inquiry, explaining that the Greek vessel was first sighted entering Johor Bahru port limits in Malaysian territorial waters at 2:15 p.m. It said the boats communicated before the accident, and the Greek carrier had said it would steer clear of the Malaysian boat. In response, the Singaporean Foreign Affairs Ministry said the collision took place in Singapore territorial waters off Tuas and reiterated its call for Malaysia to withdraw its vessels from the area. Tensions eased briefly last month when foreign ministers from both countries agreed during a meeting in Singapore to take steps to calm the maritime row and a separate dispute over airspace. Saturday's accident did not cause any injuries or lead to an oil spill and is currently under investigation. In Johor, former Kota Tinggi MP Datuk Nur Ehsanuddin Muhammad Harun Narashid was charged on Sunday with 2 counts of bribery amounting to 230,000 ringgit at the Johor Bahru Sessions Court. He pleaded not guilty to both charges. On the first charge, Datuk Nur Ehsanuddin was accused of receiving a cash deposit of 50,000 ringgit from Karya Hidayah Sendian Berhad in September 2013 while he was still a director of the Federal Land Development Authority, FELDA. He was also accused of receiving a bribe in the form of land measuring 0.42 hectares worth 180,000 ringgit in Kota Tinggi from the same company in March the following year. The bribes were allegedly for the awarding of a printing project for FELDA. If convicted under the Penal Code, he could be jailed for up to 2 years or be fined or both. The court set bail at 40,000 ringgit and fixed March 27 for a mention. In Kedah, nearly 85% of the fire that has been raging on Gunung Baling over the past 4 days has been contained so far. However, Baling Fire and Rescue Station Chief Muhammad Jamil Mat Daud said if the weather is hot and windy, there is a possibility that this would reignite the fire that has been put out. The cause of the blaze, which started on Wednesday evening, has yet to be ascertained. Firefighters did not rule out the possibility of it having been triggered by some mountain climbers. Over in Terengganu, a trader has been remanded for 7 days to assist a police investigation over the alleged sexual assault of his 9-year-old stepdaughter. The suspect allegedly committed the offense at a house in Kampung Serada, Kuala Terengganu last Friday, and the matter came to light only after the victim told her mother that her 46-year-old stepfather had sexually assaulted her on several occasions. The case is being investigated under Section 14A of the Sexual Offences Against Children Act. A total of 22 people have been tested positive for the chikungunya virus among the 25 cases reported in Tanjung Sepat, Selangor. Health Minister Datuk Sri Zulkifli Ahmad said 22 people were found to have the virus through laboratory tests, while 3 others, also showing the symptoms of chikungunya, tested negative. All patients are reported to be in a stable condition and receiving outpatient treatments. Control activities were also conducted daily in Tanjung Sepat, with a total number of activities for the destroying of mosquito breeding grounds near 649 houses. Families of the 47 Malaysians detained in a Cambodian prison after falling victim to human trafficking are hoping for their release as quickly as possible. In an emotional press conference held in Kuching, Sarawak on Sunday, they pleaded for the government's help to bring the victims home safely. Of the 47 detained since December 11th, 44 are from Sarawak, the majority of whom are as young as 19 years old. They were detained by local authorities on alleged involvement in online gambling activities, but were never charged in court. Coming up after the breather, thousands flee as New Zealand wildfire worsens. We'll be right back. We're back with the foreign news. Over in New Zealand, up to 3,000 people have been evacuated as hundreds of firefighters battle a wildfire stoked by winds in the country's South Island. So far, no deaths have been reported and only 1 home was destroyed. According to local authorities, the Pigeon Valley fire, which began 6 days ago near the city of Nelson, is now threatening the town of Wakefield, prompting more residents to flee in the district of Tasman. As of Sunday, the blaze has now burned 2,300 hectares of land with a 25 kilometers perimeter. It is understood that 23 helicopters and 2 planes have been deployed to tackle the blaze that has been burning for a week. A rainfall is forecasted in the area on Tuesday, but it is expected to miss the fire zone. South Korean officials have signed a short-term agreement on Sunday that would boost the amount of how much Seoul would contribute towards the upkeep of U.S. troops on the peninsula, overcoming previous failed negotiations that caused worries about their decades-long alliance. The new deal, awaiting parliament approval in Seoul, would boost South Korea's contribution to $890 million in 2019.
We're very pleased that our consultations resulted in an agreement, I think, that will strengthen transparency and strengthen and deepen our cooperation in the alliance.
Unlike past agreements, which lasted for 5 years, this deal is scheduled to expire in 1 year, potentially forcing both sides back to the bargaining table within months. Last year, Seoul provided about $830 million, roughly 40% of the cost of the deployment of 28,500 U.S. soldiers in the peninsula. It is reported that the U.S. had previously demanded $1 billion from South Korea for the military deployment. In the U.S., the support for a boycott of Israeli by the first 2 Muslim women in the U.S. Congress has opened a breach in the Democratic Party. This was after Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, who made their debut in the House of Representatives in January, openly declared their support for the Palestinian-led Boycott, Divestment, Sanctions Movement, or BDS. Talib, 42, who represents a district of suburban Detroit, Michigan, argues that the movement can draw a focus on issues like racism and the international human rights violations by Israel. While Omar, 37, who was elected to represent Minneapolis, Minnesota, accuses Israel of discrimination against Palestinians akin to apartheid. However, the daughter of Somali refugees denies that she is anti-Semitic. The movement, launched more than a decade ago, calls for people and groups to sever economic, cultural, and academic ties to Israel and to support sanctions against the Jewish state.
Issues and crises that we have.
Actions from the Super League. Stay tuned. We're back with sports football, the Super League. Felda United is yet to register their first win of the season following a 1-1 draw with PKNP FC on Sunday night. The hosts fell behind on the 35th minute when Thomas Abbey struck the opener to give PKNP the 1-0 lead. Felda, however, restored the parity on the 68th minute thanks to a strike by Muhammad Hadin Azman to make it 1-1. Both teams then pushed on for a winning goal in the remaining period, but the scoreline remained till the full-time whistle. The result left Felda in the 5th place with 2 points, while PKNP on the 10th spot with only 1 point after 2 matches. Double World I-Cross champion Cameron Naz took a step closer to his 3rd title with victory in Boston on Saturday, beating Canada's Scott Crossall and Austrian Luca Dalago. Take a look at the stunning race as Nightline draws to a close this time around. I'm Nakia Bashrud. Thanks for tuning in and have a great week ahead.